Hi, it's Tom from Lone Horizons, and today we're going to carry on with our solo campaign prep for Mythras Classic Fantasy. If this video has just popped up in your feed and you're a Mythras fan and you just started watching it without watching the other one, you could go and watch the other one first. If not, basically what we're doing here is a short series of videos doing kind of preparation for setting up and starting a solo RPG campaign using Mythras Classic Fantasy and the GM emulator Mythic GME, although I'm not going to go over any rules for that in this video because I wanted to sort of focus on learning classic fantasy a bit and character creation and just getting things set up to see if it's the kind of thing that might help you if you're trying to do something similar. So yeah, last time we didn't create our character yet. We're going to do that in this video. Last time we were looking over the rule books of Mythras and classic fantasy and trying to kind of figure out ways to make it more solo friendly as a game. So here's the notes we made. Character creation, I put use allies, contacts, etc. for the mythic character list. And I've got that here because with Mythic GME, when you start, you will have at least one thread. Imagine that as a quest list, if you want, or just kind of goals that your character has that can be long-term or immediate goals. So you'll probably have one or two, probably only one. And you have a characters list, which if you want, you can generate some characters for in the beginning. And Mythras, as part of the character creation in the original Mythras, it has a way of generating your character's background and family, and any rivals or enemies or that kind of thing. So I thought we might try using that in this video. So yeah, we've got that to set aside for later. Use passions to establish a goal or his personality. Yeah, so passions in Mythras we will go back to in this video as well, and that could help us with maybe making a thread for him. I don't know. Character improvement and luck points. These are things which are going to emerge from the actual gameplay itself when I'm doing it. So that's not something we decided on in the first video. We decided we would just play it by ear and decide how often you get improvement skill rolls and how many luck points replenish at what rate. We'll decide that during the play. Combat, yeah. So combat, I do want to run a kind of example test combat in a video, and I think I won't be doing that today, but I will do it soon. We decided that most enemies will be underlings that die in, I think, a couple of hits. I think it's underlings can take 2 wounds and then they fall down, clutching at the wounds and screaming. Rabble are for things like crowds, angry mobs and things, and you just hit them once, and when they get wounded, they run away or back out of the fight or fall down. And we decided, they will always use the max damage special effect because that means they're not going to be that effective in combat. Groups of underlings will be led by an NPC who will be a more challenging fight, not an underling who will be an actual NPC with all their stats and everything and able to use whatever combat special effects they have access to. We'll be generating unique monsters a lot because just for the gameplay and the setting, I'd quite like the world to have fewer kind of humanoid orcs and goblinoid type monsters, and more interesting one-off sort of weird creatures. Combat should be infrequent and deadly. Yeah, I think that's good. So this is the reason the reason I've put that combat should be infrequent and deadly is partly because the combat rules for Mythras are deadly, and you can't really play as a single character in the same way that we would play Scarlet Heroes as a single character and go around messing everyone up. I would be killed really quickly if I tried to do that in Mythras. Also, I just want this game to be sort of separate from my Dungeon Crawl Classics campaign that I'm playing as well, where we're a party and we've got all these special abilities and spells and things, and we can go through dungeons like racking up kills, fighting groups of goblins and things, and slaughtering them, and healing each other and that kind of thing. I want this campaign to be more about trying to use our wits and skills to get out of situations and de-escalate situations, rather than just running loads and loads of combats, because in Mythras, combat takes a long time, as we will find out in a future video. So that is basically what we decided in the first video. I think what we'll do is we'll get on with character creation, but before that, just a couple of updates that I've been mulling over in the 2 weeks since I made the last video, because I got quite busy. Then I went on holiday for a week, and I've had some time to think about it. Now, last time I described the setting of the Badlands, which I was sort of making up in my head as being a kind of Conan the Barbarian style swords and sorcery place of kind of rocky wilderness with desert and craggy hills and cliffs, with little settlements of barbarians spread out here and there, with some kind of evil overlord in charge of the whole place. And I think, and us playing a barbarian character, I've changed my mind since then. What I want to do is not be so specific to begin with, because that is something that I think often works against you when you're starting a solo RPG. It's much, much more fun to lean into the fact that you're playing solo and just make it up as you go along, using the GM emulator that you're using to ask questions, and also whatever kind of hex crawl generating system you're using to generate the landscape and the settlements and the dungeons and things like that. I think it's just more fun to discover the setting. So therefore, I've decided I'm going to make a much more kind of traditional fighter type character, like maybe kind of mercenary type guy, in a generic medieval fantasy setting. Now, to some people that will probably be a turn off, but to me, I just really enjoy that kind of setting in RPGs. I don't need some kind of gonzo new OSR style crazy world where it's all set in the dead rotting corpse of an ancient god or something like that. I just prefer to sort of start off in a kind of landscape that's like medieval England, and just see where it goes from there. That said, I do want to, and this is going back to the generating unique monsters thing, I do want to use Dungeon Crawl Classics. The rulebook has a really good section on generating a unique race of humanoid monsters to use instead of goblins in your campaign, because everyone's sick of goblins. They're in everything. And in Dungeon Crawl Classics, in my solo campaign of that, I've been fighting loads of goblins recently. So we will generate a unique new race of humanoids, which will be the kind of main low-level antagonists that we'll encounter when we encounter monsters. So that was a couple of things I've just decided on while thinking this over in between making the last video and making this one. So let's get on with creating our character, shall we? I know he's going to be male because that's just the feeling I had in my head of what this character is going to be like. Just make him generic, basically. Make him a kind of blank slate, and see how he develops as we play. Again, leaning into the solo play thing. So let's go to character creation in classic fantasy. Okay, character creation summary. So you got your character concept first. Keep it simple for now, more will come. Well, that's what we've done. He is a young blank slate of a character who we know is a warrior. Right up here, I'm going to name him last, I think. It says player. I'm going to put Tom. I always do that, even if it's just me playing solo. I don't know. Race and culture. I want to play a human, and I kind of think maybe there's only going to be humans in this world, just for a change. And it can be more about the kind of, like I was saying in the last video, kind of intrigue. I don't know how I'm going to run it, but we'll figure it out, and be more like kind of Game of Thrones than Lord of the Rings, or like the Forgotten Realms. Sorry, I just completely blanked on the Forgotten Realms there. But, not high fantasy. It's going to be more gritty, grimy, human-centered fantasy. Okay, so that's what we've got for character concepts so far. Characteristics. Choose a method to determine characteristics and calculate your character's strength, con, size, dex, int, pow, and char based on the desired race. So yeah, there's a point buy method, and there's a random rolling method. I think I'm just going to do random dice rolls, and then if he doesn't meet the 2 required stats for fighter class, then we will just bump them up as if we had rolled them. Here we go. That's character concept. Human versus non-human races. Don't really need to read that. Let's see. Characteristics and attributes. These follow the same steps described in chapter 1 of Mythras. That's good to know. Calculating characteristics. Yeah, 2 methods. Dice roll or points build. I think, we are going to do random dice rolling. Okay. Roll 1 extra die as indicated for those stats as detailed in the racial characteristics table. Okay, this is to make, because this is to kind of make more sort of heroic characters for dungeon delving and being able to survive longer in a dungeon. So it does have a little bit of help for playing solo, but not much. So we are going to be a bit tougher than Mythras characters. Okay. The player may exchange values among characteristics with the same dice range. So is the racial characteristics table here, is that including the extra dice roll or not? Let's see. Okay, so the dice used depends on the creature or race chosen. For humans, roll 3d6 for strength, con, dex, pow, and char. So human, 3d6. Oh, it does say. Well, why did they do that? That's weird. So basically, if you didn't get what I just said, this says roll 1 extra dice as indicated for strength, con, size, dex, blah, 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 as it detailed in the racial characteristics table. So here, the racial characteristics table for human, for example, says strength is 3d6 with an average of 11, I think. And here it says for humans, roll 3d6 for strength. So why didn't they just add 1 die extra here? That's a bit weird. Okay. Roll 1 extra die. I'm just double checking that I'm not completely wrong. No, okay. Yeah, all right. So roll an extra die for all of them as detailed. Okay, that's fine. The player may exchange values among characteristics with the same dice range. Okay, so you can swap them around. That's useful to know. So I'm going to get a bit of paper, scrap paper, to write down what our rolls are. So human is going to be 4d6 for strength, con, size. Oh no, not size. Strength, con, dex, pow, and charisma. Power and charisma. Okay, so I'll get 4d6. I just don't know why. Let me know what you think in the comments if you think that is kind of confusing and misleading there. So there's 4d6 and then 3d6 plus 6. Okay, so our first 4d6 roll, which could be strength or it could be swapped around. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That sounds good. Second 4d6 roll. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2d6, well, 3d6 plus 6. 5, 9, 10, 16. Then another 4d6. Right, 5, 9, 13, 16. Then another 3d6 plus 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then another 4d6. 6, 7, 8, 9. One more 4d6. 12, 16, 17, 18. That doesn't sound too bad. I'm not used to Mythras stats at all. I'm only really used to old school D&D stats. But it sounds all right. Good. That felt like it took ages for some reason, just to roll those dice. Okay, so then we can assign them to what we want. So, as a reminder, these strange sounding ones, size is how tall your character is and how big built they are, kind of. Pow is power, which is kind of like willpower and magic power as well, if you're a magic user. But it's useful for determining kind of willpower. Oh, there is a skill called willpower. Yeah, so it's power times 2 to get that skill. Okay. And charisma is charisma. Okay. So he needs high strength, doesn't he? So that can be one of these two. Firstly, let's get these out the way, these 3d6 ones, as there's only 2 of them. So one of them is size and one of them is intelligence. So you can have 16 or 14. I think I want higher intelligence than size. So his size will be 14 and his intelligence will be 16. That's those two done. Okay, strength. He should probably, oh, look at that. He could have 18 strength. As a fighter, that's great. So let's do that. 18 strength. And then constitution. How about, could be the 16. I kind of like him to have 16 dexterity, actually. Let's go with 16 for dexterity. And then 12 for constitution. And then I've got 11 and 9. So that's willpower and charisma. So I've made a very fightery character, but he is going to be doing a lot of talking. So maybe I should swap one of these around, actually. Maybe constitution could be even lower, or dexterity. What could dexterity be? That could be... I can't swap intelligence out with any of these because that's one of these ones. Okay, so I can't decide. It may not make much of a difference. It may make a lot of difference, actually, because of the way you determine skills in this game and how granular it is. So let's go with, hang on, it can't be size. Okay, so it could be constitution or dexterity. Let's say, and then we've got 11, 9, and 16 if I remove one from dexterity. So if I make dexterity 11, so then we've got 9 and 16. So how about charisma could be 16. Let's say he's like a natural born leader, and then his willpower is 9. So he's a bit unsure of himself, possibly, because he's going to be young. Okay, let's say that. So what comes next? Calculate attributes. Oh yeah, so what is it? These are characteristics, and then these are attributes. Okay. As described on pages 8 to 11. All right, calculate attributes. So we get these. These are things like action points, damage modifier, which is a modifier that you do for like any attack with any weapon or unarmed. Healing rate and things like that. I really like how kind of crunchy this game is, and I'm sort of looking forward to making use of all of these different things in it. So calculate attributes. Oh, okay. Age. Where's age? Is it up here somewhere? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, blah blah blah. While most of this information is found in Mythras, some are reprinted here to highlight the differences between classic fantasy and the core system. The following attributes contain new or additional information. Attributes such as healing rate, hit points, and initiative remain as per Mythras. Okay. That's a bit difficult and annoying because it means you have to go back to the Mythras rulebook and look that up just for those ones. Okay, attributes 8. I guess they didn't want to just reprint loads and loads of info that they'd already put into the Mythras book. But it is a bit of an annoyance for us. Okay, so attributes, here we go. So which ones are different? Okay, it's got age here, so let's... Oh no, that comes after attributes. Okay, ignore me, I've got it wrong. The following attributes contain new or additional information. Healing rate, hit points, and initiative remain as per Mythras. Okay, so healing rate, let's look that up, is based on your constitution. So ours is 12, so our healing rate is 2. And that, the way that works is, I think, depending on the severity of a wound, it will either take 2 days to heal, or like 2 weeks to heal, or 2 months to heal, whether it's like a minor wound, a major wound, or a serious wound, I think. Anyway, I should probably just go through these quite quickly, otherwise the video is going to be really long. Let's see. So, healing rate, hit points, and initiative. Okay, hit points. This is quite fun because you've got hit points for all your different hit locations on your body. So here we go. It is constitution plus size. All right, so for us that would be 26, constitution plus size. So 26 to 30. Where are our hit locations? Here. Okay, I wish it had a little diagram of a person's body here. That would be so good. And then you'd write the hit points in each body part. I would love that, but they haven't done that. Maybe because you can be different races and things, and they'd look different, so they'd need all different character sheets. So let's see. In the legs, he's going to have 6 hit points. So right leg and left leg, 6. The AP there is armor points, so we don't know that yet because we're not in the game yet. Abdomen, 7 hit points. Chest, 8 hit points. Each arm, 5. And head is 6. Okay, that's good. What was the next one from Mythras? Initiative. Initiative bonus. Yeah. The moment at which someone reacts in combat is governed by initiative. Initiative bonus, it acts as a modifier to initiative rolls. The higher the bonus, the faster one responds. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it is the average of the dexterity and intelligence characteristics. Oh, that's weird. All right. Dexterity and intelligence. Okay, let me just type this in to a calculator. Okay, it's 13.5. I think that gets rounded up based on the rule, the Mythras rules. You always round up to the next number. So that would be 14. Initiative is 14. Okay, and then so the others we can get from this book. So let's see. Calculate attributes. Experience modifier. Oh, what's this? Humans gain 1 additional experience roll over and above any acquired from charisma. Most campaigns are human-centric, making it easier to find other humans to train with or be trained by. Okay, experience. Is that something you write on here? I don't think it is, unless there's like a notes section. Oh, notes. Human plus 1 XP roll. Okay. Oh, experience modifier. Oh, it's there. Okay. So that is plus 1. Forget that. Not much room to write your notes there. Okay. Height and weight. The table on page 9 has been reproduced from Mythras to facilitate imperial weights and measures for those that prefer that system. I think I will just go with the imperial system, even though I'm in the UK. And, well, funnily enough, in the UK, we're like halfway between imperial and metric. Like, we use metric for loads of stuff, but we still use imperial for like miles when judging distances and things like that. It's really weird. It's like the speed limits on our roads are in miles per hour, not kilometers per hour. But then we use like centimeters and millimeters for measuring stuff on a smaller scale. It doesn't make any sense. But I think to make it feel more old worldy for our medieval fantasy setting, we will go with the imperial system. All right, so height and weight table. Here we go. How do we do it? Apply the size modifications for blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's all right. No. So what's his size? Again, it's 14. So this says height, 5'11" to 6 foot. And then maybe we can choose for him to be lithe, medium, or heavy. So we'll make him medium, I think. So his height in feet will be 5'11". Where do we put that? Is it up here? Weight, height. Yeah, okay. So I'll gender M. I'll put height 5'11", and then weight. Where was it? Here. If he's medium, I'll just put the minimum for medium, 196. That's what I'm imagining. Not really, really heavy. So that's what's the symbol for pounds? Oh, it's LBS. See, I don't even know that. And the other thing is we measure our weight traditionally in stones, which is even weirder, which no one else in any other country has heard of. Maybe Australians use it, I don't know. So like it just throws even more weird measuring units into the mix here for some reason in the UK. All right, luck points. Humans are currently favoured by the gods, while the demi-humans as a people are on the decline. As a result, humans gain 1 additional luck point over and above any acquired from power. But then it doesn't mention the rules for determining your luck points based on your power. That's funny. They gain 1 additional luck point. Okay. Well, maybe it's in the Mythras book. Let's see. Luck points. Here it is. Yeah, they didn't say that, but it's in the Mythras book. So what is his power? 9. 7 to 12, he gets 2 luck points, +1 for being human in classic fantasy. So that's 3 luck points. That sounds good. And we talked about them in the last video. They're basically like fate points and things, which could be very helpful for keeping him alive in fights and things like that. And because he's probably mostly going to be on his own, it could be quite helpful for him. Okay, so that's luck points, movement rate, and then where have we got, like, we don't have damage modifier or action points. It doesn't say. Oh, that must be in Mythras. See, it's a bit weird, classic fantasy. I wish it would just say, here's a step-by-step guide to doing this. 1, use this book for determining these, and this is how you do it. 2, use Mythras for these skills and these attributes and list them so that we know. Also movement rate and things. Oh, that's here. So the base movement rate for humans is 6 meters, approximately 20 feet. Although certain skills can improve this. The miniature rules in Chapter 7 measure distances in 5-foot squares. The following table details the various races along with their base movement rate in meters, feet, and blah, blah, blah. All right, where is it? Movement rate by race table. Okay, human, 20 feet movement rate. And there's doesn't seem to be any modifier for that. Okay, 20. Certain skills can improve this. All right, so we haven't done skills yet. So I'll put 20 feet. Okay, so what have we still got left? Initiative penalty. I don't know why. I don't know what that is. Let's look in the Mythras book again. Magic points we're not going to probably even use, but I think they might be the same as power. Let's see. Okay, here we've got damage modifier and stuff. It's a bit weird how it's all split up. Action points. This is how often a character can act in a round of combat. So that is intelligence and dexterity. So where is that? That is 27. Oh, that's good. 25 to 36. He has 3 action points. That's really good. Damage modifier. So yeah, that's whenever they hit someone with any weapon, that's a little modifier they do. So strength plus size, 18 plus 14 is 32. Plus 1d4, that sounds great, actually. Can't even write small enough to fit in the box. So plus 1d4. There we go. Hopefully you can read that. Initiative penalty. I don't even know what that is. We might just leave it blank and then look it up later. Initiative bonus. I thought that was initiative. This is really confusing. All right. Magic points. Okay. Magic points are equal to their power. Okay, so his would be 9, not that he's going to use them. All right, I'm going to leave initiative penalty and just look it up later, just for the sake of getting on with the video and the character creation. So let's see what comes next. Standard skills. Okay, this is fun to work out. So by default, every adventurer has a range of standard skills allowing a variety of actions to be performed, blah, blah, blah. These skills are detailed more fully in Mythras. A basic list is reproduced below with the corresponding characteristics on which it's calculated. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully this won't take me too long with my bad maths skills. Athletics. So have we got all of these here? I think we have. Yeah, that's all the standard skills. Okay. Athletics is strength plus dexterity. So that would be 29. 29. And I think this may not be the final number for each of these skills. I think they might get added to later on in the process. I'm not quite sure, because that doesn't sound very good, does it? Boating, strength and constitution. Boating. Why is All right. So 18 plus 12 would be 30%. Brawn, strength plus size. So that is 32. I think some of these will be the same, actually. Let's check later. Conceal. Oh, it's all listed here. Sorry, look, I'm an idiot. I've got the which characteristics you have to list, which characteristics you have to add together here. Okay, that's fine. All right. So conceal, dex plus pow, 11 plus 9. So that is 20%. Customs, intelligence times 2. So that's 32. Dance, dexterity plus charisma. That's interesting, isn't it? 11 plus 16. So that is 27. Deceit, intelligence plus charisma. So that's 32. Drive is dexterity plus power. So that is 20. Endurance, constitution times 2. So that's 24. Evade, dexterity times 2. 22. First aid, intelligence plus dexterity. That is 27. Influence, charisma times 2. That is 32. Insight, intelligence plus power. Wonder how they worked all these out. So that is 27. No, sorry, it's 25. Locale, intelligence times 2. That's the same as customs, 32. Perception, intelligence plus power. That's the same as insight. That's 25. Ride, that's dexterity plus power. That's the same as drive, isn't it? Yeah, 20. Sing, power plus charisma. So that is 9 plus 16. That is 25. Stealth, intelligence plus dexterity. So that is 27. Swim, strength plus dex. That's 29. Unarmed is the same. Will power is power times 2. So that's 18%. Okay, I think those get augmented by the fighter class and stuff like that later on in character creation. I'm not sure. Combat styles, yeah. A combat style is a skill relating to fighting and using weapons. It is a diverse skill with many specializations related to the character class to which it pertains. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so a combat style is an umbrella skill that melds together many related aspects of fighting under a single ability, removing the need to purchase multiple sub-skills. So it simplifies it a bit. All combat styles have a basic percentage equal to strength plus dex. Okay. So characters learn combat styles as part of their chosen class as described in chapter 3. So we'll do that then. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So skills and character rank. This is interesting. It is desirable but not necessary for characters to begin a classic fantasy campaign at rank 1. Remember, that's like levels in other games. To do so, the character must possess 5 skills important to their class at 50% or higher. So I think some of these are definitely going to get increased. These are known as prerequisite skills and are noted in the relevant class write-ups in chapter 3. If these prerequisites are not met, characters will instead begin as rank 0 members of the class and will be required to attain rank 1 in play, following the normal rules for advancement. And it means they'll have, they won't be as good, basically, in a couple of different ways. Okay. Race and culture. If human, you must decide on one of the 4 cultural backgrounds: barbarian, civilized, nomad, or primitive. So we're going to be civilized. It's the culture here. Oh yeah, race/culture. So human, I'll just put civ. Civ. Our original concept for the character would have been barbarian or nomad maybe. But yeah, this version is going to be civilized. Let's see. Demi-humans, blah, blah, blah. Finally, each player must choose appropriate passions which govern what is important to and drives the character. So we covered passions last time. But we will do that. I think we'll do that actually later on in character creation, just when we've got everything else down, like professional skills and all the class stuff done. Okay, background. Can develop a background story as desired. We are, I think, going to do that last as well, because remember in the last video, we looked at some tables in Mythras for generating your family and friends and rivals and enemies and stuff like that. So we'll do that then, and that will be part of his background. So then character class. Okay. So just so you know, the classes are Bard, Berserker, Cavalier, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Magic User, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Thief, and Thief Acrobat. That's interesting. So that's quite a nice group of classes for a dungeon crawler. All right, so yes, we will go to class now, and then we'll come back for bonus skill points after that. Okay, oh, and then when you get starting gear, my plan is to have him captured by the race of humanoids that we're going to generate at the end of this video. So maybe we'll give him his starting gear. We'll write down his starting gear, but it's all going to be taken away from him and stored somewhere in a dungeon or camp or something, where he's being held captive. So, all right, let's go to chapter 3. All human characters receive the following attribute and racial talents. Movement rate 20 feet, we've done that. Lucky, they get an extra luck point, we've done that. Gifted, they receive an extra experience roll beyond that, which is gifted from charisma. Yeah, so we did get that. Experience modifier +1, yeah. Oh, and then you've got a write-up for a human NPC warrior. Okay, yeah, that's fine, as just for reference. So then human culture. Of all the playable races, only humans choose a separate culture, which helps them to further define themselves. Note that each culture can be even more granular and can be altered to be very much region specific. Okay, so demi-humans their culture is more homogeneous and entirely subsumed under race. So they're more like kind of stereotypes, the demi-humans, if you're having them in your game. Okay. So the information relevant to character creation is reproduced here. So that's barbarian. Okay, civilized has standard skills of those ones and professional skills of those ones. It doesn't really say how that affects character creation. Okay, and it's got an example of how culture affects your skills, but it doesn't explain how they've worked it out for the example here. So it's like, Gary, the games master, has already decided that characters are residents of the civilized Duchy of Bethany, loosely based on the rural areas of medieval Europe. Okay, so, and then he explains, like, Mark, the player, begins by adding the default 40% bonus to language, common tongue, and customs, then chooses 3 professional skills he learned growing up in Bethany. But then it doesn't say, like, how that is determined. So that's a bit weird, unless it's the same as in standard Mythras, and I need to look in that book there. So default 40% bonus, and then the professional skills, healing, I don't know. Valamir now has 100 points to assign to this listed standard skills and the 3 professional skills he selected. Okay, let's look this up in Mythras, because I think it must be detailed in there. Okay, attributes, standard skills, 11. Oh, that's these, yeah. Basic percentages for some skills would be modified by both culture and profession. Yeah. Culture and community in here. Civilized. So then you've got skills. Standard skills are these. Example, combat styles that you don't need to worry about in classic fantasy. And then professional skills, you've got these, but it doesn't actually say what, like how much percentage you add to these skills. Ah, is it here? All right. I'll just read this for a second. Okay, so it's now 2 days later. I decided to take a break from the character creation because it was pretty intense compared to what I'm used to, mostly playing OSR RPGs where, you know, you roll up 5 attributes and that's it. Pick a class and you're done. So yeah, I had a break for a couple of days. During that time, my daughter got hold of the character sheet and drew on it with a blue highlighter, unfortunately. Hopefully that bus going past wasn't too loud. I've got the window open because it's now the last day of May and it's really, really hot here in London. Anyway, yeah, so I read... And that traffic is really loud. I hope it's okay. I read quite a bit through the rule books, and basically what I figured out was, in terms of skills, you've got your standard skills that come from your culture and race, and then you've got standard skills that come from your class, and then you've got professional skills that you have learned from your culture and race, like while you're growing up into adulthood, maybe by doing some kind of apprenticeship or whatever you were doing before you became an adventurer. And then you've got professional skills that come from your class. As far as I can tell, you get to improve in character creation. You get to improve whatever standard skills you want out of all of them. And then with the professional skills, you get to choose 3 from your culture and 3 from your class and improve them. I might be wrong, but that's what I've figured out. And as it's a solo game, that's what I'm going to stick with. And if I'm wrong, who cares? I'll just carry on with it. If anyone knows different and wants to correct me in the comments, you can do that, and then maybe I will adjust the skills based on that. Yeah, I think last time we were reading this. Apply the static bonuses to customs and native tongue. These are plus 40% to each. So I did that, didn't I? Yeah, okay. So now native tongue is 72% and customs is 72% as well. Select 3 professional skills from the options offered. That is talking about the ones that come from your culture in the Mythras rulebook. If desired, select a single combat style, which we will as well, and then distribute 100 points amongst the listed standard skills, the chosen professional skills, and the combat style, if selected, increasing that skill by 1% for every point spent on improving it. So each skill has to receive a minimum of 5%, cannot receive more than 15%. Okay, and then in Mythras, when you get to the chapter on careers, because you do your character, there aren't classes in Mythras, but there are careers, which are just normal kind of old world fantasy careers that that your character can choose from. It says the same thing again, and it says about choosing 3 professional skills from the careers professional skills. So in classic fantasy, your class has professional skills and standard skills instead of your career, because you don't have a career in classic fantasy. So hopefully that is making sense. If I'm wrong about something, then it doesn't really matter, and that's what we're going to go with. Anyway, when I edit this video, I'm going to cut out a whole chunk from when I was playing the other day and flipping back and forth in the rule books and trying to work out what I was supposed to be doing for the skills. So what it comes down to is we get to distribute 100 skill points between what I just discussed, and we also have to work out our combat style, which I wrote down. Where did I write it? I definitely wrote it down somewhere. Here it goes. Here it is. So combat style comes under the fighter standard skills, and it begins as strength plus dex. Okay, so that is 18 plus 11, so that would be 29. Okay, so it starts off as that. So combat styles, 29%. And as we were talking about before, in classic fantasy, each class just has its own combat style, which is called the name of the class, like fighter. And you just read what weapons it lets you use. And it's kind of, that's the only thing I'm a bit disappointed about between this and Mythras, because in Mythras you basically custom make your own combat style based on the weapons that you want your character to be able to use based on their own backstory, and you can give it a cool name, and it's got a list of like example ones that you can use as well, and it's just a really nice sort of unique thing that you get to do for your character. So I'm gonna rename the fighter combat style to Fighting Man, after the original name of the fighter class in a very early version of D&D. So we'll call it Fighting Man. Fighting Man. And that starts at 29%, but we get to improve it. Unarmed. I think unarmed must have a starting percentage as well. Oh, it's listed there actually. Unarmed is strength plus dexterity, so that is 29% as well. So now we have 100 points to distribute, skill points, between all of these. And here we get to choose out of these ones. Now, last time I think I mentioned that you might want to choose these based on the backstory that you have for your character, because of things like courtesy being where you would what you would use if you were like having an audience with a nobleman or something, and so that may be appropriate to know all that stuff as your character if you were rich, but not if you're a poor. I just said if you're a poor. I didn't mean to say that. It sounds like a really derogatory way of describing a poor person. And likewise with streetwise, a poor person might be better at that than a kind of sheltered nobleman's son or daughter. So what I thought, before we choose all the skills, is we will do a bit of backstory creation using the Mythras rules, because here, I think I mentioned this before, sorry if I'm repeating stuff from the same video, it's just that this is 2 days later. Here we have a table to roll on for background events, and then we've also got, and it's a big D100 table, which is great. I think it's got 50 different things on there. We've also got stuff about passions and allies, contacts, rivals, and enemies. So we'll read that, and then you can roll them up, I think. Like your family. Oh, here it is. Family and connections. I wonder if you roll up your enemies as well. Anyway, we'll get to that. And that is, as I said, that is going to be a really useful way of populating the adventure lists for Mythic GME. Anyway, background events. Let's see if you're supposed to roll once or more. Let's see. They are notable things that have happened in the character's life before he began his career as an adventurer. Some are formative, some are fortunate, and some are unfortunate. Background events are optional, but using them adds to the character's history and can be used by creative players and games masters as hooks for scenarios or even complete campaigns. If using background events, you may feel to choose an event that appeals or roll randomly. Random rolls may produce very interesting but potentially conflicting results. If a roll is not to your liking, or seriously disrupts the idea and concept you have for your character, then do re-roll the event. They should enrich the character, not disrupt it. Okay, right. So, if your starting character is older than the Mythras standard, then you may gain multiple rolls on this table. See age, page 31. Let's just see what it says, because I think we're going to be the youngest age bracket. Age 31. The table is provided. Background event rolls. Okay, so young would be 1d6 plus 10 up to the age of 16. He's going to be older than that, so you get no events. But adult, 2d6 plus 15, you get one background roll. Okay, so we will do that then. And do we like roll up his age? Oops, where is it? When we're doing the family background stuff. Let's see. Interesting. I think we can just roll it on there. There's a lot of jumping back and forth in the rulebook when you're doing character creation. There is a Mythras character creation workbook that you fill in as you go, but they haven't done one for classic fantasy, so I haven't looked at that. All right. So let's work out his age. So it's going to be 2d6 plus 15. Okay. 11 plus 15. So that's 26. Okay. That's pretty good. That's kind of what I was imagining, that roughly. So this guy's 26 years old. Frame, we put medium, didn't we? Not like thin or large or whatever. Okay, so that means he gets one background event roll. So let's do that and see if it will help with Mythic GME and the adventure list. Okay, here we go. 45. You are either born with or somehow received a mark, blemish, or scar that resembles a glyph. The symbol does not exhibit any power yet, but all who see it remark on it, some acting with wonder and others fear. A quest of some kind is needed to awaken the glyph, but is this wise? Only time will tell. All right, that's quite weird. That makes me think he's gonna end up as some kind of chosen one or something like that. I'm just gonna re-roll once, okay? If it comes up 45 again, which often happens to me when I re-roll things in RPGs, I often just roll the exact same number even on a D100. It's happened several times to me. It's really weird. And if that happens, I think, okay, the dice gods are really keen for that to be the case, so I'll stick with it. So I'm going to re-roll once, and whatever this is, we will go with, all right? 50. Several years ago, you were attacked by an unidentifiable wild beast which nearly killed you. The creature vanished, but since that time you felt an ominous presence when wandering the edges of your homelands. Thus far, the beast has not reappeared, yet perhaps it's merely biding its time. What was the creature and why is it hunting you? All right, that sounds ideal for this kind of world that I'm imagining. Okay, so that is our first thread. Or should it be character? I think it's going to be a thread rather than a character. Should it be, because character doesn't actually have to mean a sentient person. It can even be an object, like a quest item or a group of people or a faction. So maybe it should be a character rather than a thread. Let's put it as I don't know. I'll put it as a character for now. I'm going to put the beast. And once I start playing and reading through Mythic GME again, I might change that, but we don't know yet. Well, that's great. All right. So, yeah, we think the beast may be hunting us again. And what I'll probably do is make it a unique monster and roll on a table in something like Ironsworn Delve to generate it, or maybe Dungeon Crawl Classics or something like that, to make a kind of really weird, unique monster. So that's good. All right. Now, families. Every character comes from a family. The family might be rambling with dozens of members, or small and tight-knit with only a handful of kin. The family's reputation might help or hinder the character, or its connections might prove useful for all sorts of reasons now or in the future. If desired, roll D100 on each of the family tables below to determine parental status, the number of siblings the character has, and the extended family's structure. Next, determine the family's connections and reputation. Okay, so yeah, does the family enjoy respect in its community? Do its connections bring it a level of power or prestige? Are there skeletons in the closet that might threaten stigma or ostracism? Does reputation bring allies or enemies? It is recommended to leave the details of large families vague. One way of developing a story for Mythras characters is to introduce family members, such as that shrewish aunt or roguish cousin through role-playing and scenario development. Keeping details vague at this stage gives the games master the flexibility for creating such introductions. Okay, yeah, and then let's just quickly read about allies, contacts, rivals, and enemies. They are people, or perhaps organizations that a character has developed a relationship with for either good or ill. At this stage, all one needs to do is give these supporting characters a name. Contact Gundleus the Sage, for example, does just fine. Or enemy, Cult of Yethis. Fleshing out the details can come later. Okay, so that fits in with what I said about the characters list in Mythic GME. Okay, so ally is an ally, yeah. Will offer help and guidance when called upon. Depending on their personality, the ally may want a favour in return or might provide aid for free. Contacts, people of potential influence the character knows. An acquaintance who can help, not one who will. A rival, those who oppose the character for the same or similar goals and will attempt to interfere with or harass him. An enemy, someone who wishes the character harm and will go to lengths to ensure the character suffers in some way. They may take direct or indirect action, possibly trying to influence contacts and allies to bring about the character's misfortune. Right. So they are intended to act in the background, providing occasional interactions with the character, but not always being prominent in their lives. Right. So I take that to mean if you have an enemy, the enemy shouldn't pop up in the first adventure you have with the character and attack you and be killed and then never seen again. There's supposed to be someone who's a bit more savvy than that. Okay. Yeah, so these can be good sources of background information, blah, 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 intended to be bit players in the characters' stories rather than fully fleshed out non-player characters. Okay, yeah, that sounds good, but it doesn't say much about generating them. Maybe there isn't a way of generating them. Maybe you're just supposed to think them up yourself. Okay. Oh, here it is. Look, it's like this. Roll 1d4. On a 1 you gain an ally, 2 a contact, 3 an enemy, 4 a rival. Okay, so you do roll them up, but I don't think there's any kind of like NPC generator in this. There will be in loads of other games that I own, so that's probably something for a later time, but we'll mark them down on the characters list if we roll any today. Okay, and then we'll figure out who they are when I'm actually playing the game later. All right, so social class tables. Let's roll randomly to see what kind of social class he is. Civilized, D100, okay. 71, that sounds high. Gentry, okay. Example, title, bailiff, esquit, master, official, steward, warden. So background resources, money mod 3. Oh, that's interesting. I think that doesn't apply to basic fantasy though. Background resources, owns property, farm or business, furniture, tools, weapons and armor, mount, several servant or slave retainers, support from locals. Okay, that sounds like a knight. All right, because the one above that is the aristocracy. Okay, with like titles like Baron, Count, Duke. So he's basically the equivalent of a knight in the society that he's from. Okay, so I think for the vague idea that I've got in my head for this character, I don't want him to actually be a knight reporting to a local baron or something who gives him quests and missions to do, or a holy order or something. I think he is going to be the son of, the landed someone from the landed gentry. That's what we say in like our English history over here. Someone who owns property, farm, or business. So maybe his dad is some kind of craftsman or artisan or something like an alchemist. Some job that the equivalent of what you would need to like go to university for today. Or some kind of like trade, like building trade or craft trade that you would have to study for, maybe back in this fantasy world, by being an apprentice first and then starting your own business somehow. Although I'm not sure how do they own property if it's like a feudal world. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't really matter that much. The important thing is father will be some kind of person like that, and he is like the son of the family. Okay, so we've discovered that he's from the gentry, and then family and connections tables, parents table. Look at this. This is interesting. This is where you find out if your parents are even still alive. So this is building up a backstory for him. Should I write this down on the notes section? Yeah. Here we go. We've got notes here. So father is a craftsman with some wealth. His father might actually be dead, depending on the next roll, so we might have to change that. Let's see. 97. Both parents dead. Oh no, he is dead. Father was a craftsman. There we go. Parents dead. Okay. That's a shame. He may have an older sibling who inherited the family business or something. Siblings table. D100. 88. 1d8 siblings. Wow. Could be a lot. Someone's shouting outside. 3. So he has 3 siblings. 3 siblings. Okay. That's all we know about them so far. Extended family table. $60. 31 to 70. He has 1d3 minus 1 grandparents. Okay. None. The grandparents are dead. I won't bother writing that down. We'll just it's what you'd assume. Aunts and uncles. He has 1d3 aunts and uncles. Oh, okay. 3 aunts and uncles. So let's say, is the first one an uncle or an aunt? An uncle is a 1. And, oh, hang on. I'll just roll 3d6, right? Because I've got 3d6. And 1 to 3 is an uncle. 4 to 6 is an aunt. Okay, so he's got 1 uncle and 2 aunts. So let's say on his dad's side, I'm going to have to draw him a family tree here, has aunt and uncle on dad's side. Oops. On dad's side. My handwriting, well, it's not even handwriting, writing in capitals. I do it really badly when I'm making YouTube videos. It's not normally this bad. And what was the other thing? Has an aunt on mum's side. Okay. So then cousins. Where was it here? 1d4 cousins. He's got 3 cousins. Okay. I'm not going to bother figuring out whose side they're on. Now, so that's his family done. Now, what I'm going to do on the characters list, I'm not going to make each of these people an individual character on the list, because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be like every time you have to roll randomly to determine which character something is happening with, you would have like 9 chances to get one of his family. And I think I'm just going to put, instead of that, I'm going to put family member. Or just family, okay? And then each time we roll that, then we'll kind of roll to find out who it is. Right, so what's the next bit? Reputation table. Okay, what is his family's reputation like? This is all actually really interesting. I've never gone this detailed in a character's backstory before. 88. Family's reputation is untarnished and of excellent standing, so he has 1d3 contacts or allies. Okay, that's really good. Okay, so family reputation outstanding. Yeah, that's great. 1d3 contacts or allies. So whatever his dad did, whatever his craft was, he was known far and wide throughout the land for being a master of his craft and a good, a trustworthy businessman who you could rely on. Let's see, 2 contacts or allies. Okay. So connections table. What's this? Allies, contacts, enemies, and rivals. Oh, maybe that means they're the contacts or allies of the family, and then he has his own ones here. Okay. Connections. So these are things like family enjoys reasonable connections within its community, and family is well connected in the community and is known to those commanding local power. Okay, well, let's do that as well. So we've got 2 contacts or allies. So let's see, is the first one it'll roll 2 dice. 1 to 3 is a contact. Blah, blah, blah. They're both allies. Okay, that's good. So 2 allies. And maybe they should be... You know what? Yeah, we'll do this as well. We'll do this roll as well now. Okay. Before we write anything down on here, just to get an idea of how many characters there are going to be. So that is... I keep rolling really high. 78. Family enjoys reasonable connections within its community. Roll 1d4. Okay. 2. On 2 you gain a contact. Okay, so we don't have any enemies. So another contact. So 2 allies, 1 contact. All right, well that's fine. So then maybe we should add them as separate characters here. So because they're not connected to each other. So I'm gonna put ally 1, ally 2, and then contact. And then when we actually encounter any of these people in the adventure, that's when we'll roll them up, I think. Okay, so I thought it might be beneficial to us to randomly generate the profession that our character's father had. the business that he owned, because then that will give us a bit of an idea of which kind of skills he should have picked up professionally from his civilized culture section of skills. And so for that, I'm going to use the D30 Sandbox Companion, which I bought and printed out. Here it is. Because this has a nice list of NPC occupations for when you're generating an NPC, which we are here. Wow, this says creates 2,430,000 variations of Freeman NPCs. Okay, this is like their kind of personalities as well, and what they're doing and stuff like that. That's funny. This is the kind of tool that I want to use while I'm playing this game, actually, because I'm going to be kind of generating everything on the fly as I explore the hex map. So let's just roll. Let's see. So on here, on occupation, you've got merchant and then what they sell, and you've got trade, which are all the like traditional trades they could have, and then you've got misc, which are things like beggar, circus performer, assassin. I don't think that's appropriate to roll on. So let's roll a d6. If it's a 1 to 3, he was a merchant. Well, let's make it more likely he was some kind of tradesman, actually, because I think it is more likely than him being a merchant. So a 1 to 2 will be a merchant, and the rest will be some kind of tradesman. Okay, he was a merchant. So now we roll a d30. All the tables in this, almost all of them, are d30 tables. I don't think I've even rolled this when playing Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is what I bought it for. So here we go. My first time, I think, rolling a d30. All right. That is a 6. He was a bowyer. Okay, that's interesting. He needs to be an archer then, doesn't he? He needs to be able to shoot a bow, definitely. And well, I was going to say make his own arrows out in the wilderness, but that's actually a Fletcher. What a Fletcher did. Okay, he could make his own bow if he wants. So wow, yeah, father was a bowyer. So let's write that down. Father was a bowyer with some wealth. Okay, great. So now I think we can start increasing our skills. So yeah, I don't want to spend too long doing this. So let's see. My idea for his personality is that he's going to be kind of like affable, like friendly to people he meets. He wants to kind of help people who are less fortunate than him. Maybe that's something his dad taught him, and because his dad has died, he sees it as an important thing to keep doing. And someone who is basically not very deceitful, I think. What's his deceit now? 32%. So I'm basically going to cross off deceit. I'm going to cross off the skills that I don't want to bother with. Conceal as well. That's at 20%. Does that mean conceal an object? Let's see. Where's the skills? The list of skills. Skills summary is 53. I think that's what we want. Oh, it's here. Okay. That's not what I want. Here we go. Let's find it. No, it's not there. See, this is this not alphabetical? Oh, okay. Oh, it is sort of. Here we go. Standard skills. Conceal. Concealment of large objects rather than the character themselves. So conceal could be used to hide a chariot behind some rocks or sweep away the wheel ruts of the chariot so its path cannot be tracked. Okay, let's put that as a maybe one. Drive, which is to drive a horse and cart, I guess, or a carriage or a chariot or whatever. Maybe he needs would that include a horse? Oh no, ride. You as a fighter, you get ride or boating. Okay, there are a lot of skills to choose from here. I think maybe what we should do before we start messing around with the standard ones is to choose the 3 professional ones that he gets from his culture and his class. So 3 of these. I think commerce will be a good one. Craft. Let's look up craft. Be on like page 50 something. Each craft is a specialized form, and there are as many crafts as there are professions for them. Oh, so could you have craft bowyer then? Ah, interesting. Yeah, all right. Well, it doesn't kind of really give you any examples. Commerce is used to evaluate the worth of goods and commodities. Okay. Yeah, all right. So commerce and craft, which will be bowyer. We'll choose that. Art, I don't think makes sense for him. Courtesy, probably not. Law, any. That's interesting. Could be literally anything, could it? Law covers a specific body of knowledge which must be chosen when the skill is first learned. Okay. Well, maybe like crafting, but then I don't think that you would just use your craft skill probably for that. That's interesting. Let's not bother with that then. Musicianship, I don't think so. Language, we've just got the common native tongue so far, which I think is fine. Maybe he should take streetwise then. If his dad was a bowyer, he will have grown up in a settlement of some kind. So we will take streetwise for that, and I'll add points to it in a minute. And then fighter. The fighter, well, all the classes actually have prerequisite skills that you need to have at 50% before you can be rank 1 in that class. So let's see what it is for fighter, and I'll have to make sure I highlight them and choose them. Let's see. Prerequisite skills: brawn, combat style, evade or endurance, law, strategy and tactics, or craft, any weapon or armor related. Okay, that's good. So we definitely need craft. Yep, bowyer. Unarmed has to be one. Okay, so that is a fighter standard skill. So let's like put a star next to that. And we'll do the same with craft bowyer. Brawn, put a star next to that. Combat style, yeah. Evade or endurance. So I think that is depending on what kind of fighter you want to be. Someone who dodges a lot out of the way, or parries and things. So I think we'll go with what's his constitution is 12, dexterity is 11, and strength is 18. I think endurance makes sense for that. Law, strategy and tactics. Okay, so he has to have that. Or craft. Oh, law or craft. Okay, so he doesn't need that because he's got craft. And unarmed, which we've done. Okay. Yeah, so those need to be at least 50%, I think, those skills, which that sounds like a lot, actually. So maybe he's not going to be, 5 skills at 50%. Maybe he's not going to be a rank 1 fighter when he starts the game, because like his brawn is only 32%. Yeah. All right. Well, we got 100 skill points. I think what I'm going to do is assign them all off camera and then read them out, because I'm probably going to take a while to do this because I'm really indecisive and I don't know like which skills will be more useful than others. So yeah, that did take me quite a while actually to decide on these skills. And as I said, yeah, he hasn't met the requirements to be a rank 1 fighter, which it seems a bit weird, but that's what we've got. So if I just quickly go over the skills that I improved with you, let's see. So we've got willpower. I increased that to 27%. We've got influence increased to 30%. Athletics 35%. The combat style fighting man 39%. So that is basically what he rolls during combat to hit someone. So he's only got a 39% chance of hitting someone. It doesn't sound that good to me. Endurance 39%, that's used in combat a lot. Unarmed 39% as well. Brawn 42%, that's used in combat too. Let's see. So craft bowyer 37%, commerce 37%, streetwise 30%, oratory, that's kind of delivering speeches in his case or before a big battle or something to allies, 28%. Survival 28%, that's like wilderness survival. And lore, strategy and tactics 42%. And that's it. So I've listed his professional skills here. I really can't write small enough to fit all the text in, unfortunately, but that's what I'm kind of stuck with. So yeah, he is a rank 0 fighter, which gives him the title of warrior. There isn't a space to write that down, actually. Class fighter. So he basically has just maybe had some basic training. He's read about strategy and tactics in battles and of history and stuff like that. And he has learned to use a bow, probably a longbow, from his dad, because he obviously knows how to use them. And he has a basic understanding of probably sword fighting, I would say. He can use any weapon, but I imagine him using a longsword when we can get hold of one. Rank 0, I'll put. Deity, we don't know yet. Homeland, we haven't made up the name of it yet. Handedness, I'll just be like me, right-handed. And now, finally, the last thing to do in character creation is his passions, which are a really nice kind of way, especially for a solo RPG, of giving you a kind of starting point, a bit like the characters list as well, that we already discussed. Let's see. Yeah, it's optional, but their use can greatly assist players and games masters in deepening the nature of the character, introducing plot hooks based on a character's desire or prejudices, and helping the player to understand who his character is, what drives him, and so on. So passions are measured in the same way as skills. They have a starting value based on 2 characteristics and are rated between 1 and 100 or higher. Passions represent loyalties and allegiances, strongly held beliefs or ideals, emotion felt towards someone or something. So, this says Aeld, for example, may have loyalty to Achaeus, his clan chief, at 70%. However, if Aeld were to make an alliance with an enemy clan that Achaeus disapproves of, then the games master could quite reasonably have Aeld's loyalty drop to 50%, representing an erosion of his fidelity. Conversely, Achaeus might grant Aeld a favour, which increases the loyalty to 80%, demonstrating the strengthening bond. So a passion can be for a person, an organisation, an ideal, even an object. I just want to know how many you should have to begin with. Let's see. So, the passions are typically described by verbs such as comfort, desire, despise, blah, blah, blah. That describes the nature of the relationship. Okay, let's see. A passion can be established at any point in the game, either during this phase of character creation or perhaps, and most interestingly, during gameplay. So yeah, you just basically announce it that you're starting a new passion. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay. How passions are used in the game is discussed in chapter 6. I think for character creation, I won't read that whole chapter right now. I'll go into that when I'm playing the game. Let's see. Object of passion, an object or substance could be the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones. Okay, so I think based on what we know about him, right? He was raised by his dad, who has since died. His dad was a bowyer, and I think two things stand out to me already. One is that what I mentioned already, his character, he wants to kind of help others in need, help others in need. That could be a passion, couldn't it? So a concept or ideal, I think. So help those in need. Why don't we call it that? So if it's a concept or ideal, it would be starting at 30% plus the character's power plus intelligence. Okay, so help those in need. That's his first one. So, and that is what he has learned from his dad. 30% plus power and intelligence. So power intelligence, that would be 25 plus 30 would be 55%. Okay. So that's one. He also has his family who are still alive, maybe his siblings, an organization or group of people, family. So loyalty to siblings. Loyalty isn't a verb. Oh, no, it is. Loyalty to is listed here. Okay, so loyalty to siblings we'll put. So that will be 30% plus power and intelligence. Was that the same thing? Yeah, it was. Okay, so that's 55 again. How about we add one more, right? Which will be related to the beast, the beast that stalks him even now. What about hunt monsters, or like kind of persecute, not just hunt them, but like destroy. Could be that. Hate. Yeah, maybe. So what would that be? A race or species? Foreigners, non-humans, tigers, supernatural beasts, ghosts or primitives. Yeah, that's what it would be. So maybe like destroy monsters, supernatural beasts. I'm just going to put destroy monsters, right? So that would be 30% plus the character's power times 2. So that would be 48%. Okay, that's good. And then we've got a blank space for a new passion that could arise during gameplay. Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me. So yeah, I think that's all that I want to do during character creation. I don't think any of these should be added to the threads list for the Mythic GME, because that is more like a kind of quest, whereas here destroy monsters is something that is never going to be over, is it? He's never going to finish it, because there will always be more monsters in the world to kill. So yeah, now that we've done the passions, I don't think there's anything more I want to do, because my plan for how he's going to start off is he's going to begin captured and he's going to have to escape escape his captors in whatever way he can. So he's not going to have any equipment with him. He's going to have to just maybe find his equipment hidden away somewhere that's been taken from him, or he's going to have nothing and he's going to have to just get stuff together. All right. So in that case, I think we're done. I think the campaign prep is done for now. Hi guys, while I was editing this episode, I suddenly realised at the end that I've forgotten to name the character, which is probably the most important part of character creation. And I also forgot about making a new monster to replace goblins in the world of this campaign. So we'll do one more video in this series next, which will be quite short, and then we'll be ready to go. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.